Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Jet Home Loans. And now, a guy who's destined to have a waffle named after him, J.P. Shadrick.
Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. After a wild card win for the Jags, we've got a busy 2 hours ahead on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. It's Boselli and Prisco with their reaction to the Jaguars rally. 31-30 the final. Jaguars over the Chargers. It was a 27-0 deficit, the third largest comeback win in the history of the NFL playoffs, and the Jaguars are on to Kansas City for the divisional round next week. It's a Saturday 4:30 kickoff. We'll get into that game coming up. Fanatics, fan questions. The city of Jacksonville is on fire. So is Jaguars Twitter after the Jaguars win Saturday night at the bank. Let's hear from the head coach immediately after that comeback victory. And, boy, what a win for the Jaguars and what a win for Doug Peterson.
My hat's off to our guys, our team. I told them after the game that, other than obviously winning the Super Bowl a few years ago, greatest coaching victory as a team, this one's right up there with it. And my hat's off to our guys for just battling. And, as deep a hole as we dug in the first half, there was you guys have, been around our team, there's no quit in our guys. And they did an outstanding job, obviously, in the second half. And Riley kicking that ball at the end was obviously a thing of beauty.
Now to the quarterback. 4 interceptions early in the game, 4 touchdowns after that to rally the team back. And after the game, he went back to a motivational tactic from early in the season.
Coach showed a video of, I don't know if you guys heard of Jocko. You guys can look it up. It's this video where he talks about good. And it's like, no matter what happens, that's your response. Good. Threw 4 picks in the first half. Good. He showed that back in, I don't know if it was training camp or during the season, maybe when we were on that losing streak. I don't know when it was, but that's just been our mindset. Then we say it on the sideline joking around. One of the linemen, I forget who it was, said to me after I threw 3 or 4 picks, he was like, good. Just looking at him like, all right, not the time. But, it's just the mindset of this group. And like I said, you can't make a living on doing it the hard way all the time, but it's you're going to have to sometimes, and that we had to tonight, and we were able to get it done.
That was one side of the equation for the Jags comeback, of course. The other side, the defensive performance, and they were fantastic, obviously, in the second half. Foye Oluokun, Jaguars linebacker.
It was gradual. I mean, the odds, I told them boys, I don't like my odds, but I love my chances. Like, as long as there's a little probability of winning at all, we're going to keep fighting. And when we saw the table starting turning, we had momentum. We kept that. Just keep getting the ball back to offense. They started rolling. I couldn't pinpoint an exact time, but when we started making them punt, we started scoring. I think that touchdown to Evan maybe over the middle. Once we saw we had a larger chance, might as well take it.
Well, of course, all the locker room and post-game comments available on Jaguars.com. What a happy place to be, obviously, Saturday night. We're on Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jag social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We welcome in Tony Boselli and Pete Prisco. And in the most dramatic way imaginable, the rarest of rare Boselli-Prisco double locks came through and remains undefeated.
Good.
I mean, was there ever a doubt?
No, there was no doubt. There was no doubt. Once we double lock, we're 2-0 with double locks now. By the way, anybody asking? No, I'm not prepared to do a double lock this week, in case you're wondering.
Well, in full transparency, Pete might have texted me during the game when we were down 27-0 about our double lock not looking so good.
I mean, everybody was out there cursing you, and I got dragged in. So I wanted to make it apparent to you that I just was along for the ride. That's all it was. Look, Tony said, was it 12 weeks ago that Jacksonville will be playing? Maybe even that might have even been 15 weeks ago that they would be playing a big nationally televised game on NBC against the Chiefs. He's just a little late with that prediction. That's all, because that's what they're going to be doing.
I thought it was gonna be week 9, Pete. It ended up being week 20, but close enough.
Good enough. By the way, I looked up this Jocko good. Trevor, you throw one more pick and it wasn't going to be good. So I don't know what he's talking about. I get it. It's like, oh, good. You're okay. You can come out from underneath it. I understand that whole premise, but it wasn't good. But what was good, and we'll get into all this, but that second half was incredible. It really was. It was remarkable to see that happen the way it did, because I didn't see it coming. Once they got one, though, at the end of the half, and then they got two, you could almost sense the Chargers chargering. It was happening before your eyes. And then they got three, and then next thing you know, okay, here they go. But, I mean, it was amazing to watch. It really was.
But, Pete, the one thing, you're right. 4 interceptions was terrible. At one point, I was like, "Oh my gosh, are we going to throw 10?" I mean, it was like one series after another. The turnovers, it was as ugly as it gets. But to me, one of the most impressive things about that game was, yes, the team never quit. They kept on playing. Obviously, great leadership from Doug. There's no doubt about it. All of that is true. But I know you appreciate this, Pete. The mental toughness you have to have as a quarterback to go throw 4 picks and not go into the tank and not to have your head down. And a lot of guys, and guys who've had success in this league, would not have been able to do that. They wouldn't have made it. And the fact that he overcame that is so impressive to me.
I agree with you. And I even sent out a tweet during the game. I said he's got that glazed over look. And you've seen it from many a quarterback. I joke around about it with Kirk Cousins all the time, with Rick Spielman. You see them get that look on their face, and there's nothing they can do to get out from underneath it. Well, he got it, and he came out from underneath it. That doesn't happen. You're right, Tony. It doesn't happen. And when you go back and look at the interceptions, interception 1, that's not on him. Interception 2 was a mugging. I mean, they mugged him in the secondary. There's no reason that wasn't called. Number 3 was an awful read by him. And he's reading man-to-man, and there's a safety sitting there. He never sees him. Terrible read. That one's on him. And number 4 was I don't know if those two guys should have been in the same spot, but if you go back and look at number 4, he's got Kirk open inside, and he threw it to the guy behind him, and it looked like they were too close together or something there. And so that was a little weird. That one was odd to me. This one here, I think, here it is right here. Look, you see Kirk clear in there. If you can really see it from the end zone angle of the play, if he throws to Kirk, he's still running, but he threw to Ingram, which was strange. So that one's on him as well. But 2 of the 4 were on him. And here, I think you can see it here. No, that's not the one. That's the one that's tipped. It's double tipped. It's double doink off the thing. So, look, when you're a quarterback, you go back. If you make bad reads, you feel awful about that. And you feel awful about all the interceptions. But 2 of them, the first 2 were kind of fluky in a way. And so I gave him a little bit of a pass for that. I think he responded that way to get out from underneath it. So it speaks volumes to him as a quarterback. It tells you how good he is as a quarterback. And it tells you that might be the game where he just picks it up and goes even more than what we've seen so far. Because you don't do that, and Tony said it, you don't do that. Most guys won't do it. Even stars don't do that sometimes.
No, I'm telling you, I've never been a quarterback, but I've been in games that get away from you. I know that feeling on the sideline, being down 27-0 or whatever the score is, and everything is going against you. And you're sitting there going, oh my. Like, how do you get out of this? And how do you make the pain stop? And it's really, really hard. And especially with the way that game was going. And yes, Pete, I agree with you 100%. The first interception, fluke, not on him. The second interception, we can talk about the officials maybe later. I thought that it was a poorly officiated game.
Agreed.
I mean, they were getting mugged, and that was complete pass interference. You could have called holding. You could have called pass interference. Call whatever you want. But that should have been a first down for the Jaguars. But I don't care. You throw 4, you have another turnover on special teams, and you're sitting there 27-0 in front of your home crowd in a playoff game with a young team. And the fact that they didn't blink, the fact that they didn't hang their heads, yes, big for Trevor. I mean, that we talked about that. But to me, it speaks to Doug Peterson and the leadership that he has shown and he has brought to this organization and the culture that he's built. That was as impressive of anything I've seen in the NFL in a long time.
You know what else he could have called? You could have called that wasn't holding, wasn't interference. You could have called a punt there too, by the way, in case you're wondering.
A what?
You wouldn't have agreed?
Yeah, it was
you could have punted.
Yeah, could have, but
I mean, you could have punted.
Fourth down, yes.
Yeah, you could have punted. I would have punted there. I'll be honest with you. I would have punted there. But, I mean, I could see where, as the game started getting a little loose, I could understand why maybe he decided to go for it. He didn't think his defense was going to have that type of game against them. But that team was a shell of itself. That offense was a shell of itself. That quarterback was he had no weapons. At the end of the game, he was throwing to guys that wouldn't even been suiting up for him when everybody's healthy. I mean, it was bad. But, so yeah, look, again, Doug Peterson, that's one of the best coaching jobs you'll see in a long time. To keep his team in it, to keep his team focused. It would be so easy to say, okay, we had a good season, let's go home. You know what I mean? It would have been easy to do. Yep. You're down 27-0, you go home. I'm done. All right, great season. We made the postseason. We won a division. Now let's build on it. But this game's done. They didn't do that. And that's a tribute to Doug Peterson.
And the defense kept playing. Obviously, they stood up big. Part of that, too, is, yes, the defense played big and, got to the quarterback and did a bunch of things. The Chargers ran the ball, 8 times in the second half?
Oh, he's
a terrible coach.
Listen, I thought the way the Chargers handled the lead was atrocious. And thankfully, they, did a poor job.
Yeah.
But you can say the flip side of that is that game might be different if it's officiated properly. That was an issue.
Or
but that's
the breaks,
that's
but the other way too. If the breaks don't go the other way, Tony, that game's over. I mean, let's go back to it. He had Keenan Allen on the one play on the inside, and he doinked it off somebody's helmet. It would have been a touchdown. They settled for a field goal. And then he had Keenan Allen. That was on the right side on his little in cut at the goal line. Then later on, he had Keenan Allen wide open and sailed it over his head. And by the way, if he decided to go to the other side on that play, he had Parham wide open at the back of the end zone. So there were opportunities for them to put that game away, and they didn't. And that's when you start thinking, okay, they didn't put them away. Now maybe you can stay in this thing and get back into it. And nobody thought they might come back and win the game, but you thought they'd come back and at least make it interesting. Once they made it interesting, the Chargers just wilted. That team is mentally weak. They wilted.
Well, Pete, you're exactly right. They missed opportunities. The Chargers did in that first half. And you mentioned the 2 big ones. I saw the same thing on the film. But then, second half of this back half of the second quarter through the second half, the entire second half, that Jaguar defense dominated them offensively. They couldn't run the ball an inch. They played much better coverage. They started getting pressure. It was, the tale of 2 halves, not just for the offense, but for the defense too. And they started playing really good football in the second half. Now, that has to change. You do that against the Chiefs, you're going to be down 100-0. And so you that's something. And trust me, Doug is fully aware of that. He knows Andy Reid and that team better than anybody. But they're going to have to come out. They got to start fast, and it's something they have not done as of late. They found themselves in holes, and they found a way to come back. And that has to change this week going into Kansas City.
All right, guys, let's come back. We'll get a little deeper into this offensive performance, first and second half, of course. Dig into that. All the playmakers for the Jaguars offense stepping up at a big time as well. A little later on the defensive side, and Roy Robertson Harris's day. He was possessed in the game. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. In the second hour, of course, your social media questions. We are off and running. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timnery, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
As the official dentist of the Jacksonville Jaguars, ASAP Dental is a champion of the dental game. Let them win you over with full-service dental care and the same-day smile you deserve. Open 7 days a week, ASAP Dental has 8 locations to serve you in the Northeast Florida area. So come see them today. With their exceptional experience and care, you're always treated as the MVP. Visit asapdentalcare.com or call 904-500-2727 to book your appointment today.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
I feel like I was seeing it all right and just needed to settle in. We didn't really get any momentum going. We couldn't get a drive going. So I really just felt like we needed to settle in, and then our defense just kept getting stops for us. And I knew once we get the ball and kind of get rolling for that first score like we did at the end of the half, once we kind of got that and got the momentum back, felt good about. We've been in that situation before, not that many points, but similar situations. So that's the thing. Just the belief in this team. It's kind of, it's really cool to see what can happen when everybody believes. And I wouldn't have been able to do what I did today and what the offense was able to do in the second half to bounce back. Also the defense, if we didn't believe in one another. That was, I threw 4 picks in the first half, and those guys beside me on offense and the guys on the other side of the ball didn't ever lose faith in me. And that's one thing that makes it easier when you got guys that believe in you, no matter what the circumstances are.
That's the quarterback, of course, Trevor Lawrence, after the performance Saturday night in the AFC Wild Card playoff game. And for 9 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com and look at all the available inventory and go Jags. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jags social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli, and Pete Prisco. And, of course, we've discussed and will obviously continue to discuss Trevor's performance in the game, the 4 interceptions, the 4 touchdowns. It's remarkable, but you got to have the guys around him making the plays, too, down the stretch, Pete. And the pass catchers in this game really stepped up and had a big day for him. Christian Kirk, 8 catches for 78. 4 different guys had a touchdown in the game, by the way. Kirk, Zay Jones, Ingram, and then Marvin Jones. But they spread the wealth. They got it done, Pete, and they just continued the trend that had been building all season long.
Yeah, look at that. Those are the 3 free agents right there at the top of that. Think about that. That 8, 7, touchdown. 2 of them over 75 yards, one of them right below it is 74. I mean, that's why you pay those guys and go make plays. And they had plenty of opportunities. If you look at the targets, they all were in double digits. But I thought it was the second half was fantastic in terms of what they did on offense. I think the offensive line was really good at times. I mean, and we'll talk more about them throughout the show, but they did a nice job in protection. And, Trevor settled in. And once he settled in, he made plays and he got the ball out. And they did a better job of sitting down and they did a better job of, running routes where, they didn't get – and I wasn't there, but, my brother happened to be there and he texted me during the game. He said that guys weren't getting open early in that game. There were, and you can't really see it on TV, but you guys have, Tony, you guys both had a great view of it. It didn't look like guys were getting open.
No, not a lot of separation. Every pass was contested. Yeah, I mean, give Brandon Staley and that defense credit. They were going to take away the crossers. They sat down, zone, they mixed zone and man together, and they said, we're taking away the crossers. And they did a great job. And it was not a lot of separation at times early in that game, but I give Doug credit. They made adjustments at halftime, and I agree with you, Pete. It was executed seamlessly in the second half. And Trevor said it in that what we just saw him talking is the ability to just get it going. And I thought that drive late in the first half, and we actually said it on the radio. If you can go find a way, you're down 27-0. You're not getting all 27 in one drive. If they could find a way to get a touchdown going into halftime, I thought it would change the entire feel of the game. And knowing what it's like to go into a locker room in those scenarios, if you have something positive to build on, it's a completely different conversation. Because now you have some success to build on. It's a different feel in the locker room. You're down 20, which is a big margin in the playoffs, but this team's been down 17 in the second half twice already this year and won both those games. And so now you're in familiar territory and you have a positive and you got momentum. And I thought that was the most important drive of the game, of getting that 7 right before the half, because now, boy, it's a different feel coming out in the second half.
And that was a big time throw, by the way, because he had that was that the route was cool, and I like the way they faked it and then went it up, and then he has to put that right in there, man. That's a great throw in the middle of the field. That was risky, but he made the throw, and you're right, that felt different. If they don't get points there, they're done. I think they're done.
Yeah, I don't think they come back. And the guy who made that catch is Evan Ingram. He had another great game. And he's going to have a big game against Kansas City. He's becoming one of the most important weapons on this team. It's in the pass game. And I want to highlight him. Kirk was great. Zay Jones was great. Marvin Jones had a big touchdown catch. They were all great. But Evan Ingram, you think back when he came in, it's a 1-year prove-it deal. Book on him was he wasn't a great blocker, had the case of the drops. That was the book. That's why New York basically said, you can be free. You want to go somewhere else, go somewhere else. And I've watched this guy, the work ethic he has and how he prepares for every week and just what he does pregame is he is perfecting his craft. And he made some huge catches. Maybe one of the best catches I've seen all year, across the middle, late in that game. It's a crossing route, full speed. It's not a well-thrown ball. It's like on his lower back knee, and he doesn't break stride and snatches it out of the air and then turns the corner for about a 20-yard gain. I mean, I was like, holy cow. That's as good a catch as and I'm sure we'll have the highlight somewhere. It's as good as catch as you'll see. I mean, it is so good. And I just give him credit because his work ethic, and a lot of guys work hard. There's no doubt about it, but what he has done and how he has, stepped up the second half of the year, become one of the most important offensive weapons. And then if you look at his blocking, it's night and day better. And he had some great blocks against Bosa in those ends. I mean, he's never going to be a dominant blocker. You don't have to be if you're a move tight end. But I just can't say enough. And this is the catch right here. Watch this catch. That is such a hard catch.
Yeah, because it's behind him.
It's behind him, and he doesn't break stride. And then watch what he does after he catches it. Runs by people. I mean,
I think he's they have to pay him. By the way, they have to pay him.
You have to sign this guy, and he's one of the best. And he's a great locker room guy, and he cares. I love guys who care, and and a lot of guys on this team care. That's why it's such a great team to be a part of. I mean, I love what they've built. But this guy, he has been big time. He'll have to be big time against Kansas City, as a bunch of guys will. But I was just happy for Evan because I know how hard he works and how important it is to him.
By the way, the last time they played Kansas City, you know how many catches he had?
0.
3 for 14. So he wasn't much of a factor in that game. And I went back and actually rewatched that game today on tape. They ran a ton of screens and bubble screens and stuff in that game. They got to be more aggressive than that. They have to. I mean, there were way too many of those, and I don't think they knew exactly what they had in him yet, because he wasn't that early in the season. He has worked to become what he's become, which again goes back to your point, Tony. A tribute to him, because he's emerged as one of the better pass catching tight ends in the league right now, and so. You know, you got one on the other side. You got the best on the other side. So it'll be interesting to see how they use him in this game. But I'm with you. He's got to get – he can't be 3 for 14. He's got to be 7 for 70 or something like that.
Yeah, he needs to have a big game. And if you're – Pete, you mentioned they weren't very aggressive. And I haven't gone back and watched it, but I trust your assessment of it. Is, if you want to be aggressive against the Chiefs, you better handle one thing, and that's Chris Jones. And so, we haven't talked about the offensive line. Yep. And I actually tweeted out yesterday after watching the tape. I was so impressed with Juwan Taylor and Walker Little. And Walker Little's another guy that I just love the story because lost the battle in training camp, not a starter, was picked to be a starter, in the second round, lost that job. And from obviously all he's been doing is working on his craft and getting better, because he has come in and each week he's gotten better. And I thought the performance he had against Bosa and Khalil Mack, and also how he ran block in that game, I thought he was outstanding. I mean, outstanding. And I agree. And I loved in the biggest moments. And it's hard as an offensive lineman when you're down 27. Those pass rushers are coming. I've been there. It's not fun. It's not easy. And what him and Juwan Taylor did to play top-end games and give Trevor the time to operate, and the interior guys did as well, but they weren't facing top-end players on the interior. These two tackles were facing top-end guys. And as a guy who played the position, hats off, because I know how hard that is. And I was so happy for Walker Little and Juwan Taylor the way they played.
Tony, you had talked about Walker Little's technique a lot and things he needed to do better. What has he done better now?
Say it again, Pete.
What has he done better now? Because you had talked a ton about his technique early in the season or even in training camp. What's he doing better now? Because there was something he wasn't doing that he seems to be doing better.
He's way more consistent in his sets. He's staying square. He's taking away rushes by the way he sets. Which is great. His hand use is way better. He's not leaning. He's not using his head, his upper body. He's letting his hands go to work. And he is showing way more power than I thought he had. Does a great job of sitting on the bull. He's only going to get better. He's actually had a nice little snatch against Khalil Mack, got him on the ground, then went after him. I love that. He's just better with his hand use and his consistency of his sets. You can tell he's been working on it. It's showing. And by the way, what I love, every game he plays, he gets better because he's getting. And
those are
game experience.
Those are two powerful guys too. They can bull rush you, both of them.
And he sat down on it. He did. I mean, he was outstanding. And for the future. And we'll talk about the future after hopefully after the Super Bowl, because that'll be the last show after they lose, after they either win the Super Bowl or lose a game. I'm planning on winning the Super Bowl at this point.
Lock is it.
Not quite. I'm not ready to lock I might have a special lock for this week though.
Oh. Okay.
But looking to next year, just briefly, you have injured Cam Robinson. Hopefully his knee's going to be okay. And you have a free agent in Juwan Taylor. Let me tell you what you do have. You have a starting offensive tackle in Walker Little. I don't know if I could have said that at the beginning of the year. Obviously you couldn't because he didn't win the job. He's a starting caliber offensive tackle in this league.
But is he he didn't look comfortable on the right side, though.
Pete, he's a good enough athlete.
He looks much different on the left side, Tony.
Where if he gets reps, he can figure it out.
I just think he looks much more comfortable on the left side. Could Cam play the right side?
But you have a starting tackle in Walker Little.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I agree. He's been outstanding. And Juwan Taylor's been outstanding all year, by the way. Let's give him his props. He's been their best offensive lineman. Sure. I don't think there's any question about that. Yeah, he's been their best offensive lineman. I thought, the interior had some moments where they weren't great. They had some moments, all three of them. But the tackles were outstanding. It really. But you're right, though, Tony. This week, it's not about blocking the edge guys. Even though Karlaftis, who rushes the passer for him, has a sack in 5 straight games, he's really come on. You better block Chris Jones because he's that game wrecker. He's the one. He's the game wrecker.
Chris Jones he's in the category. There's only one other defensive lineman I'll put him in the category that with him is Aaron Donald. Yep. Chris Jones can mess up the entire game all by himself.
Let's come back in a moment, guys. We'll get to that again a little bit later. We'll dig into the matchup next week for the Jaguars and the Chiefs in the divisional playoff game. When we return, though, a deeper look into the defensive performance, including Roy Robertson-Harris and the run he's been on lately, certainly on Saturday night. And, of course, in the second hour, your social media questions and plenty to get to after a Jaguars win in the wild card round over the LA Chargers 31-30. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Life's better with a financial partner like Ameris Bank. From opening your first savings account to funding your kids' college tuition, we're with you.
From a flash of a business idea to growing that company just as fast,
we're with you.
From buying a home to tackling the renovations to make it truly yours,
we're with you. You have big plans,
financial questions,
and decisions to make.
And for every idea, life goal, and new venture, we're with you all the way. Visit amerisbank.com/withyou to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
It's time for sunshine and summer showers, so it's more important than ever to make sure you call Crystal Clean for all your waterproofing needs. Waterproofing can extend the life of your building by keeping water outside where it belongs. And that Florida sun can beat up your business's paint job. Crystal Clean's painting services can bring your building back to life. From waterproofing to painting, schedule Crystal Clean today. Call 904-220-3337 or go to crystalclean.com. You don't have to worry when it's crystal clean.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
It's the New Year bonus sale going on now at Renewal by Andersen. For a limited time, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off, plus save $25 off every window. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. Call now. License number CGC 1527613.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Because we already knew we knew how they were getting their plays. It was because of us. It was nothing they were doing crazy. It was because of us. Out of position some plays. Everybody just settle down. Really just, be where your feet at, man, and don't let the atmosphere excite you too crazy. You know what I'm saying? You got to be right there in that perfect state of that flow state. So that was basically just a mindset, just the entire halftime coming in.
It's Rayshawn Jenkins, Jaguars safety, and welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Monday after a Jaguars Wild Card win Saturday, 31-30 over the Chargers after trailing 27-0. Third largest comeback in the playoffs in NFL history, and the Jaguars are on to Kansas City. Well, the Jaguars defense obviously had a huge hand in this comeback. Of course, Foye Oluokun led the way with tackles again, 13 of those. Josh Allen continued what was a great stretch run with another big performance, 8 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, 4 quarterback hits. You just heard from Rayshawn there, 7 tackles for him and a pass defense. But Roy Robertson-Harris really stood out, 7 tackles, 5 solos, a sack toward the end of the game, 4 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and 2 passes defensed. And Pete, this guy was all over the place.
He was fantastic. I mean, he was all over the place, like you said, but he played back. Again, there was early Roy Robertson-Harris in the season. Then there was a lull, and the last month he's been fantastic. So I don't know. He might be another guy that had some injury issues he wasn't talking about because he didn't play that well in the middle of the season. He's been phenomenal. He was phenomenal the other night. I mean, he was chasing down plays. He was animated. He was playing with power. I thought he was fantastic. And here's my concern with them last week, though. The pressure still isn't enough. Trayvon Walker didn't do it. He's working against a former teammate who's also a rookie. He should be beating that guy. And he didn't. And I still don't think they get enough pressure. And that showed up again at times when he stood there and had time. I mean, if the shot that he missed to Keenan Allen in the back of the end zone, that play takes a little bit of time, and he stood back there. When he had I think it was a 3rd and long, he hit a shot into the middle of the field. The guy's wide open. That play takes a long time. I just don't think they rushed the passer well enough. Particularly from early part of that game, 2.5 quarters, they have to be better. And if you don't rush the passer against Mahomes, Mahomes is going to kill you. So that's still a concern. But Roy Robertson-Harris, outstanding. And by the way, I didn't think it was a dumb decision by Trayvon Walker, but that shouldn't have been a personal foul on that one sack. That was ridiculous.
No, he was trying to get out of the way. He was trying to get around him. It wasn't even a violent. It was just like a little bump into him. That was.
Well, Herbert put on a show. I mean, he acted. Yeah. I mean, it was a clear flop, but it should not have been a penalty. Do you agree with me, though, Tony, that they didn't rush the passer that well? I mean, Trayvon Walker's got to beat that guy. That's his former teammate in college. Got to beat him.
Yeah, I thought he would have more production against that guy. Now, give him credit. If you watch the tape on him, Pete, he's been pretty good pass blocker since he's been in.
No, he's a good player. No, he's a good player. That kid's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's been a pleasant surprise. And at some point, when Slater comes back, they probably move him to the right side and play him over there. He's been that good. I think you're right. He's been a really good player. But still, Trayvon Walker probably knows all his moves and everything. Again, right into his midsection every single time. That's got to be better.
I guess where I'm at, Pete, I don't expect much more from Trayvon Walker this year. I think he needs an offseason. And he's not the first young pass rusher that needs an offseason to figure out how to rush the passer at this level. What I love about Trayvon is everything else you get out of him. The physicality in the run game. He disrupts stuff.
Sets the edge.
I mean, he sets the edge. I mean, he's really a good football player. I've gotten to the point, I don't think he's a mature pass rusher, and he needs an offseason of really working on it. And Jeff and I talked about it. If he learns how to rush the passer, he'll be one of the better defensive ends in the entire league because he's so disruptive everywhere else right now.
Yep. Did you? Roy Robertson Harris killed that rookie guard for them. He just destroyed that kid.
Destroyed him. It was now. If you think about it, Pete, you're right. We need to rush the passer better. I thought if we could rush the passer the way we did in the second half of the entire game, now you got something. Because especially the second half of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, they were getting after Herbert. And they were forcing him off his spot, and they were forcing him to rush throws. And I thought that was great. But you have to be consistent throughout the game. But if you're sitting in Los Angeles and you're a Charger fan right now, you could be saying the same thing. Where's our pass rush? We had no pass rush against Trevor Lawrence because he didn't.
No. That was one of the most surprising things from that game is that they didn't rush the passer. Not that I didn't think that Little and Taylor would do some good things, but at some point you thought Bosa would explode past somebody and blast them, and he didn't. He didn't. I mean, now he missed most of the year. He missed a lot of the year with injury, so I don't know how healthy he was, but he didn't look like the same guy at all.
No, he even said it in the locker room, I think today out in L.A. that, I was playing on half a leg.
He didn't look like the same guy.
Well,
but Khalil Mack is the same guy, and he's just not the same. He's not the same player he used to be. That's the problem with Khalil Mack. He doesn't have the same oomph that he used to have.
Yeah, when you could watch the tape against Bosa, when I watched the Rams, so that was week 17, and he does not have the same power he did pre-injury, and so but still, I don't care. He's out there,
Right? Oh yeah, you're accountable. He was out there enough to bitch about every call, so he's accountable for it.
That was also what he said in the locker room today in L.A. He went on a tirade against the officials in the game. So.
Well, I mean, Jacksonville had their fair share of timing to do with some bitching about the officials, too. Come on. It was a poorly officiated game on both sides. Let's be real.
Yeah, it was. Hey, Pete, let me ask you a question because it goes to Bosa. Isn't the rule if you get 2 unsportsmanlike penalties, you get thrown out of the game?
He was supposed to be out of the game.
So, no.
They made a mistake.
Here's where it went wrong. He was not supposed to be out of the game. It's 2 unsportsmanlikes against an opponent or an official is the rule. So the second one was just a helmet into the ground. It wasn't toward an opponent or an official.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought they called that toward the official.
No. The first one was. Because
I knew that it has to be one or the other. So just an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty into the air doesn't apply to the throwing out of the game.
If he threw that
I thought both of them were at the official, so that's why I thought he should have.
Right.
The one was definitely at the official because he lipped to him. The second one looked like he was throwing the helmet because he was getting into it with the official, which is why I thought he should have got booted out.
Right. Well, if he did it with the official right next to him, then maybe that would have qualified. But he did it twice, by the way, because Staley handed him the helmet again and he flinged it down.
He did. He threw it down again. And look,
that's why.
Was he offsides? Guys get away with that all the time. They do. Did Juwan Taylor move a tick early? I watched that tape over and over again. It's really close. It's really close. But they're letting that go a little bit now, Tony. That's something that they're letting go and letting the offensive lineman get a little bit of an edge. You saw it in the Bengals game. The left tackle – in the Giants game. Andrew Thomas went a little early. Yeah. So – I don't know if he went over, and then by the way, he did hold on that play too. If you want to really get into it, but there were so many plays like the holds in the secondary, the hold on the 2-point conversion. Give me a break. Evan Ingram got held in the middle of the field. There were a lot of penalties that weren't called. They let him play. They did let him play a little bit.
And it was not a hold, Pete. There was no hold.
What, the one on Bosa?
Yeah, it wasn't holding. Clean block.
It was borderline.
Did you see a flag?
No.
Okay, it's not a hole.
Well, did you see a flag on Marvin Jones Zay Jones in the back of the end zone on the 2-point play?
Those are penalties. They just missed them.
Yeah. This might be a hold.
No, it's a perfect block. Well done.
Yeah.
Hey, let's come back in a moment. We will. Of course, continue our review of the Jaguars' win over the Chargers. We'll take a look at the Jaguars' history in the divisional round. That's coming up this week against the Chiefs. And then the second hour at 5 o'clock, we'll get into your social media questions and much more as we review a Jaguars win over the LA Chargers 31-30. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jags, and this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Turnovers, who needs them? So it's the Jags. West South finna go bonkers, man. Bonkers, man. Hope. Nice job. We gotta keep fighting. Keep battling. Believe it. Believe it.
the locker room celebration right after the Jaguars completed the third largest comeback in the history of the NFL playoffs. Down 27-0. They rally to win it 31-30. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick with Pete Prisco and Tony Boselli. PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. Well, now it's on to the divisional round. The Jaguars will visit the Kansas City Chiefs, GEHA Field at Arrowhead in Kansas City this Saturday afternoon. And the Jaguars' history in the divisional round, as you would imagine, is somewhat mixed. They've been, of course, to the AFC Championship game 3 different times in their history, but win, loss, win. It's kind of an alternating situation over the years in the divisional round. But now the task is massive again, obviously, guys, with Kansas City, the number 1 seed, well-rested coming in, Mahomes in his prime. Pete, it's as big of a task as you can find in this round.
Yeah, it's tough to beat them there. It's a hard place to play. It's even more tough of an environment in the postseason, or a lot tougher of an environment in the postseason. And Tony's been there. I remember a couple of years ago, we were both there for that freezing cold game in the playoffs. And it doesn't matter if it's freezing and windy and nasty or whatever. They line up, they're there, and that place is loud the minute it starts. And it's going to be a tough environment. And that's why Tony made a good point. They can't afford to go down against them. They just can't. Because even if you get a lead against them, and we've seen teams in the postseason go in there, the Titans did it a couple of years ago, and take leads on them, and somehow, some way, they always have the firepower to come back. So it's a real challenge for them this week. Again, I went back today and watched the tape from earlier in the season. Different teams, different guys. Look, Darius Williams was playing inside, and they were still trying to figure out who the third corner was going to be. Remember, they played Brown, they played Clay Brooks, they played a bunch of people in that game at corner. So, I think it's an entirely different team. One thing that I did notice from that game, and you guys will remember this, Christian Kirk killed L'Jarius Sneed. Just killed him. Destroyed him in that game. So anytime you look for that matchup, I think you're going to have an opportunity to get some plays. Remember, he had 2 touchdowns in that game and just killed him in that game. So I think it's a challenge. No matter, anytime you play Patrick Mahomes, it's a challenge. But when you're playing him in the playoffs in his place, more so.
I'll say this, though, Pete. I agree with everything you said, 100%. But if I had to choose a team to play out of the Chiefs, the Bengals, or the Bills, this is where I'd want to go. And the reason is because you've already been there. You played it. You experienced it. Yes, not in the playoffs. And here's the deal. You did not play your best game, especially defensively. Guys are running wide open, and you only lost by 10. And so there's a belief, and being a player, like, okay, I've experienced it. I know what I'm facing. I know what it's going to be like. And you know what? We didn't play well. We can beat these guys. And so this is the matchup I think is actually most favorable to the Jaguars, because on top of that, all the pressure's on the Chiefs. They fell short last year. They got upset in that stadium by the Bengals. They're the favorite, number 1 seed. Everyone thinks they're the best team with the least amount of deficiencies in the AFC, maybe the entire NFL. It's all the pressure's on them. And so if you can go out there and get a fast start, it's going to be one hell of a game.
It's 96 all over again. I know I keep referencing it, but there's so many similarities. It's amazing. And I mean, the fact that you guys came from, on the first playoff game, you came on the road, though, and you were behind 10. I think it wasn't it 10-0, skating?
It was either 10 or 13 or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it came back and won the game. Then you had to go on the road and play the best team in the league by far, with the Hall of Fame quarterback who put up a ton of points, and in a tough environment. Because Mile High, remember, that was back in the Mile High days.
Oh, yeah. Old Mile High Stadium was as loud as anything in the universe.
It shook. Remember, it shook. That thing shook. It was crazy. So it's a similar type of scenario. Not as big of underdogs, though. I mean, that tells you it's not the same type of challenge, but it's similar in a lot of ways.
So handle the business and, go up, play your best game, let it fly. See what happens against the Chiefs, who obviously, the spotlight this week will be on the quarterbacks and the matchup between Mahomes and Lawrence, as it was last week. That's been kind of the storyline going into the playoffs, at least going into the postseason. Every quarterback that's at the top of the depth chart in the AFC was a first-round pick. That, of course, continues this week. The Dolphins are out. The Ravens are out. Those guys didn't start in the game. But now it's down to the Final Four in the AFC and big-time quarterback play moving ahead.
And I'm getting a little wish here because I hate games that are impacted by wind. Here's the weather report. 44 degrees, clouds and sunshine, wind of only 7 miles per hour. You couldn't ask for better than that in January in Kansas City.
No, absolutely. It's a great opportunity. I mean, I actually think, JP, I disagree with your description. Hey, just go and let it fly, see what happens. I think this team's going to be – I think that by the time this thing kicks off, let me say this. By the time they get on the plane, I think you're going to have a team, a group of guys that think they should go win that game. I think they're going to be of the mindset like, hey, we're not here just to compete. We're not here just to see what can happen. We're here to win, and we're going to go beat these. I really think this team's going to be in that mindset.
I like that mindset, indeed. We'll come back in a moment. Second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour coming up. More on that. Another review of the Jaguars win over the Chargers. Your social media questions and much more ahead. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the New Year bonus sale going on now at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off, plus save $25 off every window. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. Call now. License number CGC 1527613.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'll take it as long as we keep winning. You know, I mean, that's the thing. And listen, sometimes we make it hard because we make it hard on ourselves. And you know, those are the things we're trying to kind of work through and grow through. You know, with this football team, and you know, it's just a matter of taking care of our business. And you know, we've got to hang on to the football. You know, and Trevor knows that. And you know, some of it's out of our control when the ball's tipped and things like that. I mean, those are out of your hands. But at the same time, you know, we can't keep doing that. We can't put ourselves in these types of holes. Not now, and really not ever. You know, and expect to sustain winning. You know, for the long haul.
That's head coach Doug Peterson earlier today, and welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Jaguars Happy Hour on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. J.P. Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. After trailing 27-0, the Jaguars rallied for a 31-30 win over the L.A. Chargers in an AFC Wild Card playoff game. It's the third largest comeback win in NFL playoff history. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half, but finished with 4 touchdown passes and a 2-point conversion in an unbelievable turnaround, of course. The Jags defense stood tall when they needed to, forced field goal tries, or they got off the field altogether in the second half. The Bills and the Bengals both won yesterday, so the Jaguars will head to Kansas City and face the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs. They're coming off the bye week, of course. Kickoff Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on NBC. Tirico and Collinsworth on the call. Of course, earlier in the season, Boselli was hoping for a flex to that crew in Week 10. Didn't work out then. It works out now in the divisional round. Coaching battle, of course, will be a storyline all week long. Andy Reid, Doug Peterson go back a long way. When Peterson was a backup quarterback in Green Bay and Andy Reid was on that staff was when they first met. Quarterback battle, yes, Mahomes and Lawrence this week. What a game it should be. I think that about covers it, but boy, what a comeback. What an effort for this Jags team to get it done. The third biggest comeback in league history. And some big-time calls in big moments. We haven't even touched, guys, on the 4th and 1 situation to set up the game-winning field goal at the end when it appeared that, okay, maybe they're going to try for a sneak. They call timeout because it's bunched up in the middle. And then they come out of it in the T formation, circa 1952, and hand it off to Etienne around the right end. And this was actually a play that Penn State ran in the Rose Bowl 2 weeks ago for their first touchdown. And it was designed actually to go over the right tackle, but Etienne took it wider, and it worked out. 4th and 1, and they blocked it really well on the right side of the line and set up a chip shot field goal.
You know, it's interesting. Phil Rauscher supposedly came the play. Did you know that? Yeah. I saw that in Peter King's column. It said Phil Rauscher's the one who came up with the play and told him to run it. They were going to run something goofy, by the way, on 4th down before they called timeout. I don't know what it was.
How do you know that?
It had the look of something really goofy. If you go look at it,
Would that have been your hate play of the week? We haven't got to that yet.
Well, now you haven't got the hate play of the week, but you can go one play before that and you get my hate play of the week, okay? There's my hate play of the week. 3rd and an inch, get your first down. They threw it. Get your first down and go from there.
I didn't like it either.
I mean, that was such a bad call. I didn't understand that call at all. It was basically 3rd and an inch. Get your first down, and then you can open up the playbook and do whatever the hell you want. Now you made it 4th and an inch, and now you had to figure out what you were going to do. I didn't understand that 3rd down. So everybody who asked what my hate play of the week was, it was that. I didn't understand that call. Got away with it because they had a great call on 4th down. And that play was, I mean, it was. You're right. It was well blocked. It was well designed. It was a great call. But before they called timeout, you go back and watch it because I went back and watched it. I don't know what he was doing. They motioned the guy across the formation and put him on the right side. They had trips to the right, And I don't know what he was going to do because it looked like he might be throwing it. I'm serious. It looked like it might be a throw, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if anybody asked in the press conference. Me, if I was in that press room, I'd have to know what was the play you were going to call before you call timeout, because it wasn't a sneak. You can see Trevor pop up out of it like he's going to do something.
Yeah, and Doug Peterson said today that, Trevor wanted to run the play, and he's obviously went over and called timeout on the sideline, and the head coach.
Well, what was the play? Did anybody ask him what the play was?
He didn't say. He wasn't going to say what the play was.
See, I got to know the play. I got to know the play. If I'm in that covering that team, I want to know the play. What were you going to do?
He was asked, but he was not answering that question. Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't love the third down call either. Throwing it there, Pete. I'm with you. Just get the first down. Let's move on. But that fourth down call was awesome, and it was the game winner when you think about it, or at least set up the game-winning field goal. Because right from that play, they were in field goal range and they had the clock in their favor. The Chargers had only one timeout remaining. It was so well executed. And you know what? And it happens almost every week. You forget how much speed ETN has because he turns the corner. You saw it in that play, but there was also a play earlier in the game where it looked like he's never getting to the edge. And boy, he gets to the edge and he turns up and he has another gear that is impressive.
And they put it all on Samuel, right? Go make the play. Go make a tackle, and he didn't. I thought, the third down play, though, where they tried to hit that little crosser to Kirk, and it was like a terrible throw. I didn't like that call. Just go get your first down and go from there. And I'm going to admit something here that I was probably wrong about in hindsight, but when I was watching the game, I probably thought differently. I probably wouldn't have gone for 2. And so kudos to Doug for going for 2, because me, as a head coach, I would not have gone for 2 in that scenario. Even moving it up, I wouldn't have gone for 2. Because what you do, in my book, is you've eliminated yourself from getting a field goal to tie it, but if you don't get that. So that's why I probably wouldn't have gone for 2. More power to him, because he did, and he's done a lot of big things like that in his career. I just personally, I wouldn't have done it, but I'm going to give him credit for doing it. So when I criticize him for a play each game, I wanted to criticize him for that, but I would have gone a different way, but I understand the method to the madness, and I can understand the math behind it. I just wouldn't have done it that way.
And
would you have gone for that, Tony?
In the moment, Pete, if I'm being honest, I was like, oh, please kick the extra point. Please kick the extra point, because I was – a little nervous, but then when I sat back and thought about it, and this is why Doug's the head coach. I don't think about these scenarios every single day. It's the right call because you have a 6'6" quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is 6'6", 6'6". He's already shown that he can go over the top like that. He did it earlier in the year. And the reality is, I don't know how you defend that play if you're the Chargers, because it's less than a second. He literally just reaches his long frame over, and the ball crosses. It's done. You can't do anything about it. And
that's why, people say, well, why do you do that in the field of play? Well, because if you do that in the field of play, you can knock the ball away, and it becomes a fumble.
By the way,
why you can't.
It looked like to me he kind of called his own number, because it looked like the offensive line was coming back to maybe pass block even, and he just was like, forget this. I'm going to reach it over right here. I mean, it wasn't like they had to push ahead.
I didn't sense that watching it. But you might be right. I'd have to watch it again.
It just felt in the way the reaction came on the sideline, and Doug's pointing at his head, and then his all that kind of stuff. Look at the offensive line; they're going back.
Yeah, they're going back. They're going backwards.
It's almost like Trevor did his own thing.
And on the fourth down play that they were going to play, the offensive line on the left side was blocking down. Yeah, they are going backwards. So.
Oh yeah, and you can see the receiver coming in.
Right. They're running routes.
They're trying to hit a little slant.
See, I mean, that's a big time call by the quarterback to see an opening and reach out. I mean, that's big. So
I mean, in like most quarterbacks, it wouldn't even reach that arm. It reaches all the way across.
I mean, like last night in the late game, I mean, Huntley tries to do that from the 2, and it's too far.
That's absurd. Even he couldn't do it from the 2. You don't do that from the 2.
You can't do that from the 2. The ball gets knocked down, it goes the other way for a touchdown, then you end the season.
Yeah, right.
And don't do it, and you can't do it in the field of play. Yeah. Which is why people say, well, you could do that on the goal line, but you can't. He couldn't have done that on 4th and an inch.
No,
because
ball gets
they can back
knocked out,
the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I go back to, okay, anybody out there, because I got a lot of questions about it. Which play do I hate? I hated 3rd down and 1. I hated that play. Hated it. Get your first down. Open up the playbook. I also thought, and this is another little mini criticism for me, once the ETN got the first down, how much time was left there? It was almost like what were you
55
doing?
seconds.
What was it?
It was like 50 or 45. No, maybe it was 40 seconds because he was able to go all the way down to 4 seconds to get it.
No.
Oh, it's a minute and a half.
Oh, no, you're right. They ran another play.
Yeah.
They ran another play after that.
He hit the ground at 120.
What are you doing there? Like, why? Okay, either you're ready to kick the field goal, you're going to run it down and let him kick the field goal, call timeout, or run a play. Why not just sneak it then? I mean, they lost yards. They made that field goal worse than what it was.
The tackle
that
for
one
loss.
had.
That's right.
I didn't understand that. Or they had their timeouts too, didn't they? Jacksonville, they still had timeouts if they wanted to run a couple plays. Did you make it even better?
I always get nervous putting it all in the field goal kicker. I don't care how close it is. I'm like, it just makes me nervous.
I was
barely made it.
The same thing, because what did the field goal end up being?
38, 36.
Okay, he should
36.
make it. If that's back another couple yards, that thing's leaking to the right. It isn't any good.
That's right.
That's not a good field goal. So why not make it a 28-yarder? You had plays you could have run. Are you worried about the fumble? Is that the risk? I don't know. I think I might have run. If I'm going to run it, I'm not just handing off and letting them get dumped for a 4-yard loss. Why not sneak it twice to get 2 more yards or something? You could have done something like that.
Or what if, they had the loss on the first play? Maybe that just spooked them into, hey, let's just kick this thing now because they're going to.
No, JP, once he got the first down, okay?
Yeah.
Once ETN, what yard line was he at?
They were at the 16.
Okay, so sneak it twice, call your timeouts, and then kick in the field. Here's the other thing: what down was it that he kicked on? He let the clock go all the way down.
Second down.
That's not down. Huh?
Second.
You should kick on. Right. But even though he let the clock go all the way down, if the snap gets away, there's no other chance for them. Whereas if you're kicking on second down and there's 11 seconds left and the snap gets away, you recover, you got a chance to kick that field goal again. So there were a couple things, and I'm a stickler for this, because I'm a clock management junkie. I think there were a couple things at play. Once he got the first down with ETN, if you're worried about fumbling, take a snap and sneak it twice and get it to what would it have been? Say you get a yard on each one of those.
Yeah, so
you 14.
So then all of a sudden you're kicking a 31-yarder. You should make that one. 32. It's a lot different than 38.
That's an extra point.
Well, Pete, I'll say this. I disagree with you about kicking it with 11 seconds left so you have another chance if something goes wrong. I had this debate with Joe DeCamillis years ago because I actually was of the same mindset. And we had this big debate. And he actually convinced me with the percentage, the percentage, how good the operation is between snapper, holder, kicker, that you actually probably create more percent. It's a bad play to leave time on the clock because actually you're probably leaving a higher percentage of something bad happening on the kickoff or giving them one play or anything else like that. If you just look at the numbers of the percentage and how highly that's executed, play in and play out from as far as center, holder, kicker operation. And so I would have run it down just like Doug did. Now, with that said, I would have been feeling a little bit better getting about 5 extra yards before I kicked it.
Yeah, I see the argument about the kicking it, but what if you call timeout with 8 seconds left? And in that scenario, the snap gets away. Say the snap gets away, you tell everybody, fall on it right, tell your holder, your kicker, you fall on it right away. Then you get another opportunity with 3 seconds, and then it goes. If you kick the field goal through with 8 seconds left, how much time is going to be on that clock? 3 seconds? 2?
4.
You think it'll be 4?
Yeah. Somewhere in there. Yep.
Okay, so then you blast it out of the end zone, which you've been doing, and you say, okay, go ahead and do one of your lateral plays. If you beat me with one of those plays, I deserve to lose because you're not going to get 2 plays out of that. You're going to get 1.
I guess I'm not going to criticize. I actually probably would have run it down to the 4 seconds as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way. I just think that if nobody broaches that subject ever, if the snap got away, if the snap wasn't good, you don't get another chance. That's the only thing I'm saying. You don't get another chance. If he bobbles the snap, you don't get another chance. Whereas if he bobbles the snap or it skips to him and you have time on the clock, you fall on it, you call timeout, you get another opportunity.
Or the other part of this, too, is if they do it like just the way they did it, hey, you take all that out of play. We're going to kick it anyway. Let's just go ahead and get it done and not worry about all the items to get to that point and just play.
Yeah, that's why I'm with you, JP. I would not do that. I disagree. I mean, so Pete, you're wrong. No one agrees with you.
No, I'm not wrong.
I'm not
wrong. Look, it's been around. It's happened. Guys leave time on the clock and snap it on second or third down for a reason.
Hey, guess what, Pete? I got news for you. It worked. The Jaguars won the game on the Riley Patterson field goal of 36 yards, and they're on to the divisional round. We're back in a moment, and we'll keep it real. That's right. The Chiefs are up next. We'll try to figure out how to cover some of the weapons on offense. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by VyStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. VyStar Credit Union, VyStarCU.org. Go Jags!
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timnary, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I played with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in Brett Favre, and there were times when he didn't have a great first half and came back in the second half and could light it up. And that's what I love about Trevor and his demeanor and his aggressiveness and the ability to just forget and move on.
But he'll be the first one to tell you that it's not about him. It's the guys around him too. Made plays. Protection was good. Receivers were doing a nice job being where they needed to be. But from an individual standpoint, it was this is really a great performance by our quarterback.
That's head coach Doug Peterson discussing the quarterback play, of course, in the wild card win. 4 interceptions early and then 4 touchdown passes. And the Jaguars rally from 27 down to get it done. And they're on to the divisional round against the Kansas City Chiefs. J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco on Jaguars Happy Hour. Glad you're along with us today on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars social media. It is time for Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients, award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. Well, now it's on to Kansas City and a fantastic offense for the Chiefs, of course. So let's start with how the Jaguars defense plans to or should plan to slow down Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. That's got to be a huge priority in this game, Tony.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's the number one weapon outside. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the number one weapon on the Chiefs, but it's about Travis Kelce because he could wreck the entire game offensively, for you. With that said, if you want to stop Travis Kelce, you better make them one-dimensional because if they get the run game going, and they're as tough as any offense to stop because they get a two-way go and then they start getting their play-action pass and their misdirection off of it. It makes it really difficult to slow them down. But as far as just stopping Travis Kelce, I think you got to double him. And I think you have the ability to do that because they don't have Tyreek Hill outside any longer, which scared the hell out of you because he could beat you over the top at any moment. And so because I don't think there's anybody who can play man on this roster against Travis Kelce all by themselves. I mean, outside of Tyson Campbell, but you're not going to put Tyson Campbell inside and go cover him. And so I think you have to have some plan where you're going to bracket him. Obviously, that's when you're playing man. If you're playing zone, you have to match up with him and identify where he is at all times. And so it's going to take a group effort to slow down Travis Kelce. You might also see the defensive ends at times, which will hurt your pass rush. But you see teams do this to hit Kelce as he's coming off the line of scrimmage, try to slow him down and disrupt the timing of the routes. So I think it's a multi-pronged approach. With all that, he's still going to have success. You just have to limit the success that he has.
And if you go back to the first game, you remember the first game, that was the Devin Lloyd game. Remember, he was lost in coverage, and they started replacing him, and that's when Muma started playing. And I go back to there was a big play. Remember the big over to Kelce, Tony, where he didn't get his drop deep enough, and they threw over the top of him. And now, Devin Lloyd's been better, but that's still a big problem for him is the zone coverage and his pass drops and even a lot of it. He's had problems with it. So that's a concern. But I'm with Tony. I think you double him. If the other guys beat you, they beat you. That's the way I look at it. And people always criticize the Chiefs because they don't run it enough. And I always sit here and I say, if you're playing them, if you're taking Kelce away and they're running the ball, then you've won. That's an advantage for you. Okay? You don't want Kelce beating you, and you don't want Mahomes beating you. So I do everything in my power to take him away. And if the other guys, Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez, whoever, if they beat me, they beat me. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think the other plan you have to keep everything in front of you. You do not let Patrick Mahomes start throwing over the top and getting these big chunk plays on you. That was part of the problem a little bit the first time they played. The deep over is one example. Make them go 4, 3, 6 yards. Like force them to execute long drives and try to slow them down, take some air out of the big plays that they are so famous for executing during a game, and see if you can force those long drives. And then the key is going to be of this game is, can you win the red zone battle? And so have them kick field goals, no problem. But you can't allow them to be 100% in the red zone. You need to get a game where they're 50% in the red zone or less. And so this game will be won not between the 20s. You're going to give up yardage. They're going to get yardage, fine, whatever. You got to win between the goal line and the 20 And if the defense can come up big in those situations and force field goals, that's how the Jaguars win.
You know, in watching the tape, McKinnon did a lot of good things in that game, and there was even more opportunities for him. And since then, he's become an even more prominent part of their offense. He had 6 for 56 in that game. I think that's something that you're going to have to try and deal with as well, because he is so good out of the backfield catching the football. And, Tony, you've seen it. The Jaguar linebackers at times get lost, and that can be a concern. They did in that game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for the linebackers, for Lucan, for Muma, for Devin Lloyd. They're going to have their best game. They've been really good in the run game, all three of them. I think Devin Lloyd's gotten better and better, running, hitting. He showed off some of his athletic ability in that game against the Chargers. But it's going to be a big test for them in the pass game. They're going to have really good days. They're going to have to be sound in their zone drops or identification. That's going to be a big key to this game as well.
And then, of course, with Patrick Mahomes, the ability off schedule to get out of the pocket. He's kind of moving around, rolling around, throwing it sidearm, no looks, underhand. There's all that comes into play in this game too, guys.
Well, I still think
plastering. Sorry, I was going to say plastering in the secondary is important in this game. I mean, come on. That guy, we've seen it all time and time again where he escapes pressure, gets outside, or even escapes pressure inside, does one of those skip moves and fires a shot down the field. You got to plaster your guy. When you're man coverage, you better stay with him. And that's one thing they did not do in that game either, Tony, is they let guys get away from him. And that was before, though. Darius Williams was playing inside then. And I went back and watched it today. He didn't look comfortable. He never looked comfortable inside. He's a much better player outside. Herndon was playing outside, and they rotated guys in that game. There was the Brown, remember Claybrooks, all those guys played 10 snaps. It's an entirely different secondary now, so I think that's an advantage for Jacksonville as well.
There you have it. Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients. Award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. We'll return with social media questions, the Fanatics fan questions, and there are plenty. After a Jaguars win in the wild card round over the LA Chargers, it's on to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the Kinetico difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Life's better with a financial partner like Ameris Bank. From opening your first savings account to funding your kids' college tuition, we're with you.
From a flash of a business idea to growing that company just as fast.
We're with you.
From buying a home to tackling the renovations to make it truly yours.
We're with you. You have big plans.
Financial questions.
And decisions to make.
And for every idea, life goal, and new venture, we're with you all the way. Visit amerisbank.com/withyou to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
It's not designed to necessarily get to the corner. It's designed against that type of defensive structure, right? The front structure. It happened to bounce to the corner. You know, that was TJ's gift, right? That was his opportunity to bounce it to the edge, and so he did. Not necessarily designed to get all the way out there, but it just so happened that it worked because, you know, they crowded the box, they pinched, they thought we, you know, looking at it, they thought maybe QB sneak or some sort of dive, you know, play right there, and it just so happened to go around the edge. So it's kind of a one and done, built for that particular structure.
Doug Peterson on the 4th and 1 T formation, handoff to Travis Etienne Jr. That got him into field goal range, and welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Monday. After a Jaguars win in the wild card round over the Chargers, now it's on to the divisional round in Kansas City against the top-seeded Chiefs. That's coming up Saturday at 4:30. Time now for the Fanatics fan questions. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. Shop today and rep your Jags here on game day and every day. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. Well, we put the cat signal out on Twitter earlier today. Here's the best we've come up with on this Monday. Question number 1, at the other guy 299. At what point did you feel we would win?
Let me kind of break down the stages. I felt like we had a chance to win after we scored the late touchdown in the first half. I thought that would change the feel of the game. When they got the stop in the first drive, and the Jaguars went down and scored to make it 27-14, then I literally said, we have a ball game. Now it's a ball game. Now you're going to play, and anything can happen. And, and then you get into the fourth quarter, and you make it a one-possession game. You're like, all right, it's ours to win. Here we go. And so when did I know we'd win? When the ball went through the uprights. That's when I knew. But in stages, you could feel it coming. I knew they had to score before the half for them to have a chance to win. I knew they had to get a stop on the first drive, because if you don't get that stop on the first drive, then the touchdown you just scored doesn't mean anything. And so I knew that, and I knew we had to score on our first possession. Once those three things happened, I said, okay, now we have a ball game. Let's see where this thing goes.
When did you think they would win?
Well, I did last week on the show. I locked it, so that's when I thought they'd win.
So did I, but that when they were down 27-0, you didn't think that.
No, I guess I never I was thinking more of stages. When would they have a chance to win the game? Like, okay, you got to go score.
When they scored their last touchdowns, when I thought they had a chance. That's legitimately when I thought they had the chance.
I thought
because you knew the Chargers. The Chargers just had this look that it was going away, and they knew it. It was like I call it the glaze. The glaze look that Trevor Lawrence had in the first half. The glaze look Kirk Cousins gets in big games. The glaze look the Chargers seem to have it, and you could see it slipping away from them.
But Pete, when they scored that touchdown right before half, that's when I knew they had a chance.
Gave them momentum. That gave them momentum. They gave them an opportunity. I didn't think they would still come back and win the game.
I didn't say they were going to win, but I knew that's when they had a chance to win.
Yeah, I thought when they scored the final touchdown, I thought that's when they had the chance they would win the game.
Pretty incredible. It got done. Here's another question on social media today on Twitter at PSSaberalt. Is the touchdown to Zay Jones where Trevor audible to that play after breaking down the Chargers coverage one of the most impressive plays of Trevor's young career? Of course, that was the deep ball touchdown. And what do you think? What happened before the play?
Well, you'd have to ask Trevor, but looking at the coverage, they had cheated the safety over to the trip side, and they kind of had a loose bunch, the Jags to the trip side, and they just ran. They ran off, front side they ran off the two, and then Zay just ran the deep over, and that safety had too far to run to catch up.
Well, I thought Derwin James made a bad play on it, but I could be wrong. It looks like he jumps the underneath or the underneath route. If you go back and look at it, and I can't swear to that, Tony, but watching the tape, it looked like he made a really bad play on it. Because I get your point that you're talking about the safety on the trip side. That's an awful lot to ask him to go over to the other side and cover that. I think Derwin James is supposed to be over there, and he doesn't. So do we have that play? Can we run it?
Yeah, we should.
I think that's what happened.
I think he jumped the under. I think the play design is to get that safety looking up on that underneath route and then run the over behind it.
But he should. There's no. I don't think he had any reason to jump that underneath route because it was covered. That's the weird thing. Here we go. We take a look at it. You can see him come up right there. He jumps the underneath route, and you're right. The safety on the trip side. That's a hard ask for him to cover an over route on a wide. You can see it here. Here he comes. There, right there. See Derwin James.
But if you look at the coverage design from the end zone, Pete, Derwin James is not responsible for that deep half.
I don't know. Was he playing the robber coverage? Is that what he's playing? Let me see. See, they're in split safeties though. There's no middle of the field safety.
No, but it's a single eye safety, and they cheated the safety over to the trip side because all they have is Evan Ingram on the backside.
There's no conceivable way in that coverage that safety can get over there and cover that. So I find that hard to believe that.
Check to it. My guess is that's why they check to it.
Well, it was a great throw and a great play. He's had better throws. That was an easy throw. It's a great read, a great audible, but he's had easier throws.
I love, in the middle of the route, Zay Jones just puts his head down and just running his full speed as fast as he can on the route, not even looking up, just going. He's gone, and then all of a sudden he looks up, the ball's there. That was awesome. Let's take a look at another question. Social media. All right, at Eric M. Davenport, what are potential areas of weakness that the Chiefs have that can be exploited this weekend?
Well,
lack of a pass rush aside from Chris Jones is one of them. I think, like I said earlier, I thought L'Jarius Sneed got tore up by Christian Kirk last time they played. They aren't great in coverage. They got some young guys playing in that secondary. So I think if you block Chris Jones, you're going to move the. Simple as that. Block Chris Jones, and you're moving the football. It sounds simple, but that's the way it is. He's a game wrecker. You block him, they're going to move the football.
Well, yeah, I think it's the secondary Pete mentioned. Christian Kirk had a big day against Sneed. I think that's favorable. I think they're going to have trouble covering Ingram. Their linebackers can't cover Ingram. They don't have they're good at safety, but I think Evan Ingram's a matchup issue for them that you can exploit as well.
Next question, off Twitter today, at Leland Merritt. How would you consider Walker Little's first playoff performance? Is he the little Boselli we were promised when we drafted him? If so, what do we do with Little next year? Well, we touched on this a little earlier, Tony. What do you think?
I thought he had a great playoff performance. I said it earlier on the show. I thought he was outstanding. He had a big challenge in front of him to block Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. He was outstanding. There's no other way to say it. He played really well. There's still things he can clean up. He's only going to get better. And what do you do with him? I think he's in the plan to be one of your starters next year. You have big decisions to make with Juwan Taylor. You got the unknown with Cam Robinson and the knee. What's the severity of that? Last time I saw him, I think he was still on crutches, if I'm not mistaken, JP.
Yeah, that's when I saw him in the locker room on a video a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yep. So, you can never have too many good tackles. Just ask the rest of the league about that. He did a great job.
Let me ask you this, though, real quick. What if Cam Robinson's healthy? What do you do? Do you re-sign Jawan Taylor?
I probably not. You probably let Jawan Taylor go in free agency if that's the case.
So somebody's got to play right tackle.
Yeah. One of them do. You go figure out who.
Yeah. I wonder if they have if they had to do it all. Well, we'll see. Let's one game does not make a career, by the way. He's been good up until last week. He had been good. He was really good last week. Let's see now. You go on the road at Arrowhead when you got, and granted, they're not a great pass rushing team off the edge, but Frank Clark is an old veteran, knows how to rush the passer, and Karlaftis is an improving young player. So let's see this week. He does it this week, then you got a pleasant problem on your hands.
That is a good problem to have. A couple more questions left off Twitter today. The Fanatics fan questions rolling in at Sammy B. With the 4th and 1 call today, Doug said those type of plays are one and done because of the formation. Obviously, the opposition will study these and plan for it. But can they scheme other plays out of that formation that would catch the opposing defense off guard? Well, I'll say this. I mean, not knowing, I'm not a big X and O's guy, but the T formation, you're somewhat limited in your options, I would guess, right?
There's all kinds of things you can do after that. You can run trap. You can do different things.
You can run a cross. You can run an old cross buck. You got the action going one way and run the back that way. I mean, you could do things out of it. You can run an option. How about handing it off to the up back and to one of the tight ends and then run an option the other way? I mean, there's a lot of pitch it. There's a lot of things you can do out of that. Go watch the old single wing tapes. You can get a lot of creativity out of it.
Let me tell you what. Peterson's one of the most creative play callers in the NFL. He can figure out a bunch of things he can do up that.
No,
and here's the thing we haven't talked about.
He's a fantastic play caller.
This is teacher versus pupil this week. Andy Reid, Doug Peterson. And you see a lot of Andy Reid and Doug Peterson, how he designs the offense and calls plays.
And you mentioned
and Andy Reid has one or two a game where I'd put him on the list as well, but that's a whole other story.
Wow. All right, one more question. Social media, and we'll wrap it up for the day. This is at JCPX. What's changed since earlier in the season when we didn't know how to win, losing by one score in multiple games, to now being a team that doesn't know how to lose?
I said it early. This team needed to learn how to win, and I actually had people mock me about, what do you mean learn how to win? Where they go to winning school or whatever? No, my point is you get in those situations, you understand what it takes. You're a young team. It's growing pains, and they learned what it means and what it takes to win close games. And unfortunately, we had to lose about 5 or 6 of those to figure it out. It's part of the process. And when you have a veteran coach like Doug Peterson, who's a calming influence and has been in big games, who's won a Super Bowl, and he has a really good staff around him that have been around a long time in this league. I don't think Mike McCoy gets enough credit for the job he's done as the quarterback coach, and he's a great influence on Trevor as well. And Press Taylor's done a great job in partnering with Doug on designing the offense. So they got a good staff, and young teams need to learn, and they learn through and they have their growth pains, but now they understand, and a lot of it is just belief. It's amazing what happens when you believe you're going to win. When you believe you're never out of a game and you're going to make the plays that it's going to take to go get a W. And this team now has that. They have that belief. They have that confidence. And that is something that is invaluable because you feel like you're never out of it and that you deserve to be in the situation and you're going to find a way to win.
Baltimore. That's when it started. Baltimore. Don't you believe it? That's the one. And they learned how to win. And Tony's right. He's spot on. You got to learn it. You got to believe it. Until you believe it, there's always doubts. They're always going to have doubts. Now, if they get down 10-0 at Arrowhead, they can sit back and say, hey, we came back from 27. Now, it's a tougher team. It's a tougher place to play. But for us, but they can come back. So I'm with Tony. You got to learn how to do that. By the way, JP, you left one question off.
What was that?
You guys had the Waffle House after a huge playoff comeback win. What are you ordering? And this is what JP said. Double patty melt, plate, scattered, covered, top, capped. What in the hell is that?
So the hash browns are scattered. Covered is cheesed. Topped is chili. And capped is mushrooms.
You know what I was going to say? Uber Eats.
I love Waffle House. I'm getting two waffles crispy. I want them cooked a little extra. I'm gonna get a side of two scrambled eggs with hash brown smothered covered, no cap.
Pete, what are you getting?
And I'm with Tony with the crispy waffles. I love them. I could eat waffles all day. By the way, Trevor Lawrence celebrated his victory by going to Waffle House.
He did. Yeah. And an entourage. It was great. A bunch of Jags, a few players looked like they were there, their families, all that. Cool.
You know what everybody around the nation said? That is so Jacksonville.
You know what? I love it. That's who we are. You don't like it? Too bad.
And what else is open at 2 a.m, Pete? I mean, what do you want? I don't know if it was 2, but it's late.
It used to have, I remember back in the day, it used to have, the Crystals used to be open all night, didn't it?
Maybe it still is. Yeah, I don't know. But
I'll never forget, we got home from a West Coast preseason game. We played San Francisco. We landed like at 5 a.m., and my first stop out of the airport was at Waffle House right there on the corner, and just went to town.
Right there on the airport road, there's one, right?
Yep.
Right there. Yeah, I know exactly. By the way, Mondavi hasn't sent us any wine, so maybe Waffle House could send us some food.
Yeah, great call.
Send me some crispy waffles. I want crispy waffles.
Maybe we could do this show in the off-season from different locations around town.
There you go.
I like that. There you have it. Fanatics fan questions are in. We're back with a look at the divisional playoff schedule, and we'll hear from the kicker who made the game winner. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
As the official dentist of the Jacksonville Jaguars, ASAP Dental is a champion of the dental game. Let them win you over with full-service dental care and the same-day smile you deserve. Open 7 days a week, ASAP Dental has 8 locations to serve you in the Northeast Florida area. So come see them today. With their exceptional experience and care, you're always treated as the MVP. Visit asapdentalcare.com or call 904-500-2727 to book your appointment today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
At Five Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. ViStar Credit Union, ViStarCU.org. Go Jags!
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Cowboys game was definitely a big game, and I think we really needed that game. So putting that one into overtime, that field goal was really big. And but to win it back in college against Houston my senior year, my last game at home, that was a big moment, and that was kind of our rival. So that was huge. That was a lot of fun. This is pretty sweet though. A playoff game at home, like, doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, you dream of stuff like this as a kicker.
I'd say a playoff game won on a field goal with no time left. Jaguars get it done. They're on to Kansas City. That's Riley Patterson, of course, Jaguars kicker. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli, and Pete Prisco. All right, let's review the games of Wild Card weekend. The 49ers blew out the Seahawks 41-23. Seahawks were in it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, Pete, they weren't. It was over in a hurry.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's pretty darn good, man. Tony, I know you know his family, and he's playing some really good football, man. Give him credit. He had some tough going early in that game, but there's another kid that responded to it and played well in the second half.
Yeah, I think, Pete, he has the benefit of having one of the most friendly quarterback systems and coaches in the NFL. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's a master, and he has a ton of talent around him. Best left tackle in football. Deebo Samuel's maybe the best slot receiver, one of the best backs out of the backfield, and Christian McCaffrey as George Kittle, who's the
and
number 2 tight
Ayuk has
end
emerged as a
entire
big
league.
play receiver too.
Yep, but with all that said, that's great. But you know what? Trey Lance couldn't do it.
Right.
Not at the level Brock Purdy is. You got to give Brock Purdy a ton of credit because he's smart,
man, and he goes to his progressions.
He's more athletic than he gets credit for, and he is really accurate. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but he has an accurate arm, and he is playing so damn well.
Yep.
And then yesterday, 3 fantastic football games. We start with the early matchup. The Bills outlasting the Dolphins 34-31. Boy, what a game this was, Pete. Incredible.
And the Bills did not play very well. Let's be real. I mean, they had a ton of yards, and you look up and they're losing. It was not a good performance by them. They had a fumble for a touchdown. They had a punt return set up points. They had another interception set up points. But the big play, and Mike McDaniel's done a great job with that team, and to have them competing in that game with a third-string quarterback is really impressive. But you're winning. It's 3rd and 19. You're backed up on your own 8-yard line.
Run the ball.
Or throw a bubble screen or something. Get out of there and punt the ball away. Why would he allow him to throw an interception in that spot? That was a terrible decision by Mike McDaniel. But you don't put the quarterback in that situation. If Buffalo doesn't straighten things out, and one of the things they're going to have to do better is rush the passer. They did not rush the passer very well on Sunday. That's a big problem with them.
Yeah, I think rush the passer, Pete, and Josh Allen, who I love, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league, but he's got to be smarter with the football. You're up 17-0. What do you come on, you got to be smart. Don't do anything to let that team back in. So I think ball security, good decision. Josh Allen's going to have to do a better job if they want to move on.
Second game of Sunday, the Giants over the Vikings 31-24. Daniel Jones over 300 yards, and he's running all over the yard as well, Pete.
Making a lot of money right now. They're going to have to keep him. They're going to have to pay him. Or franchise him, one or the other, because he's playing so well. Give Brian Daboll a ton of credit. What he's done with that team. And they're not unlike Jacksonville in terms of what they do offensively. They're so creative with what they do and how they get guys open. And he's got one guy he picked up off the street at wide receiver, and Darius Slayton, who was a later round pick, playing starting wide receivers, and they're getting open. And I think that's a tribute to him. But Daniel Jones playing well. On the flip side, Minnesota's defense is a disaster. They were bad all year, and they were terrible on Sunday. And Kirk Cousins is 4th and 8, and you dump it down to the tight end? What the hell was that? Terrible.
Hey, Pete, who's that? Like, I guess he's a tight end, 18 for the Giants.
No, he's not a tight end. You know who he is? He's Isaiah Hodgkins. He's from his father played for the Rams. James Hodgkins was a fullback. He played at Oregon State. So I watched him in the Pac-12 a lot. He went to Buffalo. Buffalo didn't have room for him. They released him. They put him on waivers. But Dable and the GM were both in Buffalo when he was there, and they decided, hey, they released him. Let's make him a player on our team, and they did.
He's a good player, man. He made some big-time plays.
Big-time plays.
All right.
If he's not a tight end, he's a big receiver, I'll tell you that much.
He's a big receiver.
And then, of course, the last game, we touched on it briefly, the fumble return by Hubbard of 98 yards for what proved to be the game-winning touchdown. I forgot it was that early in the fourth quarter when that happened, 11:39 to play. But that was the deciding score, 24-17 Bengals.
And by the way, if you want a bastardization of clock management, take a look at the end of that game. I mean, my God, what are these guys are – John Harbaugh is a Super Bowl winning coach. What the hell was he doing? They got a first down with about 1:40, I think, and had 2 timeouts. They took one home with them. What were they doing? They ended up throwing a Hail Mary. What the hell were you doing? It's a how not to at the end of the game. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And they still almost caught the Hail Mary, but – what I didn't like about that game, at the end of the game, after the game, what was J.K. Dobbins doing? If we had Lamar Jackson, we would have won. Don't throw that kid under the bus. The kid played his butt off for you. That was bad.
Yeah, I think if you're the Bengals moving forward, you got serious offensive line troubles. 3 of your starters are out. Williams, the left tackle, dislocated his kneecap. That means he's not playing this week.
Can he play with that, Tony? Can he play with it if they brace it up? Can he play with the dislocated kneecap? They're talking about him playing.
I've done it twice, Pete. I could not have played, and I felt like I had a pretty high pain threshold. I couldn't have done it.
Okay.
There you have it. The games
now, I guess it depends on the severity too, Pete. I mean, maybe it's maybe it was. I mean, the first time I did mine in college, mine popped out and stayed out. I mean, they had to come on the field and pop it back in. And, I mean, my knee swelled up the size of my thigh. And the second time I did it, which you were there at training camp, I knocked the cartilage off the back of my kneecap, so they had to do surgery to go remove the pieces floating around in my knee joint so I couldn't. So now, if it was, if it was a subluxation where it went in and went out, and they could minimize the swelling, yes, then I think there's a chance. But he's not going to be 100%. And so are you better off with the guy they rolled out there? But they have offensive line issues, and they're going to have to figure that out. Now, like you said, Buffalo's struggling to rush the passer, so maybe it won't hurt them.
One more game in Wild Card Weekend. It's Monday Night Playoff Football. The 5th-seeded Dallas Cowboys with the turnover machine Dak Prescott facing the GOAT Tom Brady and the 4th-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The winner gets a trip to San Francisco. Who you got in the final Wild Card game? Quick.
I'm going with the Cowboys. I think their pass rush gets the best of I know Jensen's back, but I think their pass rush gets the best of Tom Brady. Nope.
The GOAT. Moving on, but it's not going to matter because whatever team wins is going to get smoked in San Francisco next week.
What about your lock for this week?
Yeah, how about the surprise lock? What do you got, Tony?
I'm not going to lock win, but let me tell you this. It's going to be a one-possession game. I guarantee it going into the fourth quarter, and if the Jaguars can get one stop of Mahomes, they win.
Yeah, your head's. That's what I get. Well, if they do this, if they do that, then I might lock it. It's
fine.
not really a lock, but if they won the game, if they got within one possession.
Repeat of 96. Lock it. Jags win. They're in the AFC Championship. And then I'll tell you about the Super Bowl after that.
Well, I can promise you there's not a double lock this week.
No double lock. Well, we got the Boselli lock. But not the Prisco double lock. That was a rare bird.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. I think the Jags compete all day long, and I think it's going to be one of those nail-biters, game-winning drive it's going to take.
Definitely
maybe
high
it's
scoring.
A field goal, but they're going to win.
Definitely high scoring. I think they'll compete too, but they're not going to win the game. I think it'll be high scoring.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Pete, Tony, we'll talk to you. Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli out of here. Thanks to our entire crew. Joe Fortunato on the audio side, Brent Reber, David Cho on the video side, Kate Waskey handles our ad placement, William Pease handles our podcasts. For our entire crew, I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thank you for listening. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.